I also want to give a big thank you to Dr. Oliver Taplin for his incredible generosity in allowing us to adapt his translation of the Oresteia. And because we had to cut a lot of material for time, it's a really long trilogy, guys, I highly recommend that you read it in full. It's available as a Norton Classical Edition and a Liveright hardback. And I also hope that Dr. Taplin knows that our casting crew group chat is called Oliver Taplin Fan Club. Now, I would formally like to welcome you to the show. The Oresteia is, among other things, a long continuation of a much, much longer story. For those of you who really like old books, it's from that one part in the Odyssey where Odysseus talks to some ghosts and runs into his old general Agamemnon. And Odysseus is like, hey, why are you dead? You survived the Trojan War. That was like 10 years. You survived all that. And Agamemnon was like, dude, my wife killed me when I got home. So you gotta go home in disguise so that your wife doesn't kill you. But I think there's an important difference to note here. Odysseus didn't kill his kid and leave Penelope to plot his murder for a decade. So that's where we're gonna begin. Enjoy the show.
I beg you, gods, release me from this drudgery, this year long spent as lookout, bedded up here on the palace roof of Atreus' sons. I've got to know the gathering of stars, which bring the winter and the summer with their rise and fall. And now I'm searching for a token marked in flame, a gleam of fire that brings word from Troy. The message is fallen. The beacon! Welcome! I'm calling clear to Agamemnon's wife. Raise through the house the triumph cry. The town of Troy is overthrown. The beacon message tells it clear. At least I hope to greet the ruler of this house and enclasp in much-loved hand. This is mine. As for the rest, I'm keeping quiet. A hulking ox is standing on my tongue. The house itself, if it could find voice, could speak out all to
10 long years now since the day that Menelaus, prosecuting prior, strongly honor-bonded with his brother Agamemnon, launched their 1,000-ship armada from this country, battle claimants. War, they cry out. War, and shrieking sail like eagles high above their empty eyrie. In this spirit, Zeus, who protects the rights of host and guest, dispatches Atreus' sons against Prince Paris. All about a much-mannered woman, he imposes grueling struggles, knees in dust and splintered lances, pressed on both the Greeks and Trojans. That is where these things are poised now, heading for the end that's destined. No amount of sacrificing can placate the relentless anger.
As for us, we had no strength to offer with our wasted muscles. So we stayed behind here. There's no cap for war within us.
What's the news, Queen Clytemnestra? What's the message that is led you to proclaim these sacrifices?
All the altars flame with offerings to the gods of help the city.
made the sons of Atreus be earth with their scepters, and there was no keeping bitter tears from dropping. The elder king then poses his dilemma choices. Heavy chaos waiting for my not obeying. Heavy though, the future chaos if I butcher my own household's precious glory. Stain my hands with daughter pouring lifeblood on the altar table. Which of these is free from evil? How can I desert my navy? How betray my allies? All that's right forbids this. May what's best conclude this. Once he placed his neck beneath the harness of what had to be, he turned the breathings of his thought to godless rank impiety. And so he steeled his hand to grasp his daughter's sacrificial blade. And did all this to support a war of vengeance for a woman's bed.
Queen Clytemnestra, I acknowledge your power. I should like to know if you are sacrificing the knowledge of some broken news or in the hopes of perhaps hearing something welcome.
Here's intelligence more joyful far than could be hoped for. Yes, the Greeks have taken Priam city.
I'm so overwhelmed with joy I can't restrain my tears.
Your eyes profess your loyal thoughts.
But what are you relying on? Have you clear proof?
Of course I have. Unless a god has played a trick on me.
Is it the tempting vision of a dream that you put faith in?
I not accept the mirage of a drowsing mind.
Then has some fluttering rumor lifted you?
You are insulting my intelligence as though I were some girl.
How long ago then was the city taken?
I told you, in the kindly night that gave birth to this day.
Tell me what messenger could travel here so fast?
Hephaestus. It was he who sent the bright queen blazing on its way from Troy's Mount Ida, and then, beacon after beacon, passed along a chain of corridors to you.
Spoken woman, shrewdly as a man, of good sense.
Mighty Zeus, along with Stalin, I believe. You threw your tightly clinging meshes over all the topmost towers of Troy to make sure no adults, no young children could escape that vast enslaving trawl net, all entrapping ruin.
There is a fear stays with me yet. Something roofed beneath the night. Gods maintain a watchful eye on those who kill beyond what's right. Murder excessively.
The darker Bryn is where away relentlessly men who have unjust success and punish them below. Those who preen with too much praise catch the lightning bolt from Zeus.
May I not lay cities low, putting people to the sword, nor ever know captivity subject to an alien lord.
I see a herald record.
I trust you will establish well, but it apparently seemed well.
Oh, the soil of Argos, my ancestral country. After 10 long years, I return to you this day. At least I have achieved this, even though so many of their hopes lay shattered of ever dying here in Argos, and resting in my family too. So greetings, land and greetings, son. I ask you all to welcome heartily those of our men who have survived the war. O palace of our boys, now, as before, receive our king, Lord Agamemnon. Welcome him right royally, he who is upward to Troy by hacking with weapon and justice wielding Zeus.
Oh, from the army of the Greeks. Wish you joy.
Joy I have. I would no longer grudge the gods my death.
As longing for your homeland so bore me down.
So much so that my eyes have felt tears of joy.
A while ago, I gave my joyful triumph cry back when the fiery messenger first came at night to tell me of the capture and sack of Troy. And there were some who carped. What? Put such confidence in beacon fires as to suppose that Troy had been taken. Just like a woman to allow her heart to be so easily elated. They made me sound like a lunatic. I must make efforts, however, to accept this
north collided our ships together, driven by the lightning storms and pelting torrents devouring one another's flanks. When the shining sun arose, we saw the plain of the Aegean Sea filled with the corpses of Greek men and the debris of their ships. As for us, our ships survived unscathed, thanks to stealth or the pleading of some god who was no human at the helm, but rather a preserving fortune that steered to rescue us. As for the others, should they remain alive, they must be thinking we are drowned, just as we think the same has befallen them.
Why does this clinging dread forebode me, holding on tight, fluttering around my heart as I desperately try and breathe this moment?
We could have named her quite so fitly.
Unless a person unsucceeded, one spoiled and uncompleted, precisely what was to be created, as she would warm on pride instead of recovering it.
Helen, which predicts hell for ships and sailors, and hell for soldiers, hell for cities.
She brought them though a bitter end by twisting round that marriage bond.
She was to Priam's family a bad inmate, bad company, dispatched by hopes protecting Zeus to make brides weep, an irony.
Mighty sovereign, son of Atreus, sacker of the city of Troy, how shall I greet you?
How to pay due homage yet, not overshoot or send my arrow falling short of proper honor.
Back then, at the time when you led your army off to fight for Helen, I'll not hide it. In my eyes, you were not painting a pleasing picture. You were steering far from wisdom's channel when to retrieve a wayward woman, you recruited men to face their deaths. However, these labors now being successfully completed, I rejoice with deep gladness.
First, it is right for me to greet this land of Argos and its guardian gods. They share with me the credit for this safe return and for the justice that I visited upon the land of Bryn. Unanimously, they cast their votes into the urn for blood, the blood of Troy and its destruction. For this, the gods should be repaid with mindful thanks, because we have exacted punishment for a presumptuous act of theft. Also, regarding your sentiments, I quite agree. For it comes to few by nature to admire a friend in times of happy fortune without a taint of envy. And as for what remains concerning gods and city, we'll convene assemblies that are communal, consulting all the people, so that we can consider how to make quite sure that what works well at present will remain effective in the longer term. And now I shall return into my palace, home, and hearth, where first I shall do honor to the gods who sent me out and now have brought me back.
It is a dreadful anguish for a woman sitting by herself at home without a man, forever listening to malicious rumors. They would arrive, man after man, announcing news of ever worse catastrophes. And as for wounds, if this man here had suffered as many blows as had been reported to this house, why, he'd be more perforated than a net. It is thanks to grim rumors of this sort that I've had to be unbound by others from this noose I've fixed above and round my neck. And that's why our child, the token of our pledges, yours and mine, is not here by my side as should have been the case. Orestes, don't be concerned at this, because a family friend is looking after him. King Strophius of Phocis, so caution of this kind brings no deception with it. As for me, the well springs of my tears are all dried up, with not a droplet left. My eyes bleared from lying late awake, weeping for my beacons, standing there inactive. And now that I've endured all this, I can, with a heart released from grief, address this man of mine as guard dog of the fold. So now, my dearest heart, step from your carriage, but do not, great king, sit down upon the soil, this foot which flattened Troy. Come, women, get on with your task of spreading fabrics all along the pathway you will walk. Yes, let us have the passage strewn with purple, so that justice itself may escort him well into a home that lies beyond his hopes. Our attention, ever wakeful, shall ensure that all Orestes, with the gods' help, rightly done.
Offspring of thee, the guardian of my house, your speech was fitting to my absence, stretching out at length. But proper eulogy remains a prize which is right for others to award, so do not pamper me in a female fashion, or bow down to me with gawping salutations, and stop this spreading of my path with woven stuff which might attract resentment. It is the gods should be honored in this style, not I. So pay me homage like a man, I say, not like a god. One should not call life well blessed till it has been lived right through in full prosperity. If I can act entirely in this frame of mind, then may I rest secure.
Well, tell me this in open honesty.
For sure I'll not betray my honest judgment.
Might some alarming turn have made you vow these to the gods?
Someone with authority that authorized this deed.
And Priam, if he had success like yours, what do you think?
Sure, he would have stepped upon the precious cloths.
Then pay no heed to people's carping talk.
Grumbling from the populace can be a powerful force.
The unresented man's the one with nothing to be envied.
It's not a woman's place to show such relish for a fight.
Yet those who reap success may properly concede defeat.
This victory in this contest means so much to you.
Agreed! You're still in charge if you give way to me by choice.
All right, if this is what you want. And as I step upon these fabrics dyed with purple, let no envious eye cast light on me from afar. I have great qualms about destroying household properties by crushing underfoot these precious cloths, which must have cost much silver coin. So much for that. And now this stranger. Offer her a kindly welcome. She's had to come along with me, the army's gift, the bloom selected out of many captured spoils. Well, now I've been subjected to your wish like this, I'll make my way inside my house.
Oh, the sea there is, and who could drain it dry? The sea produces many, many dye shells, an inexhaustible supply of welling purple, worth much silver, rich for steeping fabrics. Thank the gods we have a wealth of these, my lord. This house does not know poverty. I myself would have vowed to trample on innumerable woven cloths, if that had been prescribed by prophets to ensure deliverance of this man's life. And now that you've returned to your domestic hearth, your coming signals warmth for winter. And in the summer, when the grapes are sour, the coolness flows through the palace, as the complete master ranges through his home. Zeus, God complete, hear my prayers through to the end. Ensure the things that you make sure become complete.
I suspicion dread all week, fluttering around my heart as I try desperately to raise it all.
Why this prophetic chant, with no payment, no commission? Why call my reason spit it out dreamlike and dismiss it?
Insatiable desire can fill a house too full. Corruption lives next door and leans against the wall.
A life that's laden rich lurks in dark instead, and murmurs in its pain, and can't unwind the tread. Meanwhile, my mind's to play.
Yeah! Come along inside as well. It's you. Cassandra. Zeus, far from showing anger, has delivered you where you may share the rituals of this house, and take your place with all the other slaves around the altar of our household Zeus. So step down from this carriage, and don't act aloof. Since compulsion has tipped down the balance of your fortune, I suggest you find it grateful you belong to masters with ancestral wealth. Those who strike rich unexpectedly prove cruel owners, while with us you shall receive what is the proper custom.
It's you she's been speaking to, and speaking clearly. You should obey, if you are going to.
Unless she speaks some unintelligible foreign tongue or chirps like a swallow, I should be getting through to her understanding.
Go on, she's telling you what course is best for you.
I don't have time for this. The animals are waiting, ready inside for the sacrifice at the central altar of the palace. If you wish to join in this, then don't delay. Or if you can make nothing of my words, then leave your hands in alien gestures to communicate.
It seems the stranger needs a good interpreter. She's behaving like some new-caught creature.
She's crazy and delusional. She has arrived here from a conquered city, yet she has no notion how to wear the bridle. Not, that is, before she has been broken in. Her mouth blood-flecked with foam. I will not waste further words on her just to be disrespected in this way.
Well, I feel pity for you, so I'll not be angry. Come, poor woman, get down from this wagon.
In the watery pool he falls, I tell him
faith shall not go disregarded by the gods, for another will come as our avenger, a mother-killing, father-vindicating child. He shall return, and at the topmost row of stones to cap these catastrophes his father laid out there shall draw him back. I have seen Troy first suffering, as it did, and next the conquerors are beaten out their turn in the hands of the gods. I therefore take my place as well. I shall be bold to die. His store I bring now is the kingship Hades, and pray I shall receive a swift, clean blow.
But if you truly know about your death, how can you turn so resolutely, like a gold-directed hacker, to the altar stone?
There's no more time.
The time is precious to the very end.
To run away would gain me nothing.
Well, your resolve is surely rooted in the heart of courage.
No happy person ever has to hear such words.
Is some blessing, though, to perish gloriously?
Oh, Father, how I feel for you and your noble sons!
What is the matter? Why recoil in fear?
The whole house reeks of murder, dripping blood.
No, that is just the smell of ritual sacrifice.
It's like the stench exuding from a tomb.
It is only human nature, never to know satisfaction in success.
Now, at last, it is It's just. And even more than just, because this man has filled a cup of such accursed crimes within this house. And now, he has returned and drained it to the dregs.
I am astounded at your brazen tongue.
You're bragging like this over your own husband.
You patronize me! Like some little woman with no mind of her own. This man is Agamemnon! Yes, my spouse, and yes, a corpse! And this right hand of mine, this architect of justice, and that is that!
Woman with detested earthborn men have you tasted who done this murder?
With people's curses shouting, you shall be deprived of country, banished with the city's hatred!
Today, you sentence me to exile from my country and to hatred from the people and their curses. Yet back then, you raised no voice against this man. This man who rated her as nothing. Back on the day he cut his own child's throat as though it were the slaughter of an animal. The treasure of my labor pains, used as a charm to quell the gusts from praise. Isn't he the one you should have driven out from this country in atonement for pollution? Yet when you scrutinize my handiwork, again you are a righteous judge!
You are proud and devious, and the words you speak ambitious, just as you are maddened in your mind with murder's threat.
You shall pay, dear, friendless, blow for blow, relentless!
Hear this, my solemn oath. By justice, now completed for my child, by curse and Erinnys, the powers I've sacrificed this man to satisfy. No pang of fear stood through my house! No long as one maintains the flame upon my hearth. Against this, so long as he stays loyal to me, the shield that keeps him confident. Here this one lies, the violator of this woman here. And here she is, the prisoner, the prophetess, his double bedmate, fortune teller. And so they both met their due deserts. He's here like this, while she, swan-like, has sung her final funeral dirge.
I wish it would come quick. Not after lying sick, not after painful years.
Final fate that draws the never-ending dark, the sleep that does not wake, now that our noblest guard is lying here, struck dead.
He suffered many ways.
And through a woman's deeds, his life has been destroyed.
Frenzied Helen, you alone have destroyed in front of Troy lives so many, oh too many.
Now you've found a final crown stained with blood too strong to scour. You, the war cause of this house.
Do not allow these things to crush you so that you wish for death to take you. And do not turn your anger onto Helen, calling her the fatal man-destroyer. It is not right to say that she, one woman, ended all those lives of Greeks, inflicting all this pain that stays unhealed.
Oh, diamond of this house, you swooped down on this place. And on the differing pair, the sons of Atreus here.
Now you've hit truer version when you name the family diamond. Fattened for 3 generations, that's what fuels the lust for lapping blood pools. Yet, before the ancient trauma can be mended, more separation gathers.
To claim you are blameless in this slaughter. None could bear witness to such falsehood.
This man's death is no more squalid than this fitting.
I greet you, welcome light of day, and brings me justice. I can say at last the gods look down from high upon the crimes of earth, and make sure humans pay the price. Since I see this man here, lying in the woven cloths of the Erinyes, paying for the plot his father perpetrated. Thy father, Atreus, was the ruler of this land when he was challenged for the kingship by Thyestes, my own father, and his brother. Atreus threw him out, an exile from his house and land. Unfortunate Thyestes then returned, a suppliant at the hearth, which was a way to save his blood from staining his ancestral soil. But as an act of hospitality, and with enthusiasm, more than love toward my father, godless Atreus made out to be arranging a great celebration feast. And there he served him up a dish of children flesh. He hacked away their heads and hands and feet, and served Thyestes so in his ignorance he ate. And once he realized his monstrous act, he cried out in revulsion and recoiling spewed the goblets out. He kicked the feasting table over and so made it the justice of his curse. Like this, I pray the whole bloodline be overturned. In consequence of that, you see this man brought low. And I piece this death together with the thread of justice. For I was the third child, left alive, and driven into exile as a little baby with my wretched father. Justice has returned me here. Now I am full grown and have got this man into my grip. So I can say even death would be acceptable to me, now that I have seen him entangled in the cords of justice.
Here's this. I have no respect for one who acts on high and mighty in such bad circumstances.
You stayed at home, effeminate, and schemed against a soldier fresh back from the field, and all the while still in his own vigorous bed. And Clytemnestra dead, our dead are
You'll suffer long and hard for saying that. Thanks to your howling foolishness, you'll find yourself dragged off in chains.
You think that you'll be sovereign over Argos? You, who when you planned his killing, didn't even dare to strike the blow.
Because the trickery was obviously the woman's role. My long-time enemy made me the object of suspicion. Yet, I'll undertake to rule the people here by making use of this man's treasury. And anyone who's not obedient, I'll clamp beneath a heavy yoke.
Nonsense! I only hope Orestes is out there somewhere, so he may have returned with good fortune to become champion killer of the battlefield!
Come on now, my soldiers. Hands on sword hilts ready.
And my hands ready also, and I'm quite prepared to die.
Yes, you're saying die as keeper and confederate. It's the day of my return to exile to this land. I stand here beside my father's sepulchre and call on him below to come and pay me heed. Do not lie listless in the folds of dark, but through your son assert your power once more. I dedicate this love affair, kept growing for this day. Look, what is this group of women drawing here, conspicuous in their funereal blacks? Could some renewed disaster have beset the house? Or am I right to think they may be bringing offerings to pour out for my father, propitiation for the dead below? Yes, that must be the case, for I think I see Electra, my own sister. She stands out in anguish and grief. Now, Pylades, let's stand aside from here, so we can learn more surely why this group of women are approaching for this ritual.
Mother Earth, my Earth, that godless woman sent me to do this right that is not right, to try to keep her troubles at bay. Her voice was terrified.
For once that blood has been spilled on the ground, what ransom can be paid? When the gods enforced my city's doom, falling to onslaught and war, I was taken from my father's house to live in slavery here.
You servant women, keepers of our house, please advise me over this. What words am I to say as I pour out these funeral offerings?
Since I respect your father's tomb as if it were an altar, I shall now, as prompted, speak from the heart.
When you're pouring, utter words that faintly to sympathize with us. And whom should I declare among our friends?
First say yourself, and anyone who hates Aegisthus.
What others should I add as on our side?
ORESTES, even though he's abroad.
And as for those ones guilty of the killing, explain to me, what should I say of them?
Pray that some god or some human comes to deal with them.
As I pour out these liquids to the dead, I call upon my father now to pity me. And let Orestes light a flame within our house, for as it is, we are like vagrants, sold off by our mother, who has bought herself a partner in exchange, a confederate, joint guilty of your murder. And while I am no better than a slave, Orestes still remains a fugitive, far from his property, and all the while they revel in the luxuries you labored for. Hear my prayers for us, so listen to me, Father. Let Orestes come back here by some good luck, and grant that I myself may be more self-controlled than my own mother, and more virtuous in deeds. Against our enemies, I ask for vengeance, so your killers shall be duly killed in turn.
Hear us, mighty sovereign.
Hear us from the night. Glory, liberate this house.
Save his thirsting house.
Here on the tomb, I found a lock of hair.
What man could it belong to, or what girl?
No one could have cut it off except myself. Choose who should have worn this way, our enemies. What's more, it looks closely similar to, tell me whose hair it is like. It looks so very like my own.
But how can you dare to journey here?
He must have sent us a tribute to his father. Look, here are footprints, a second kind of evidence. And they're comparable to mine. This is agonizing, soul-destroying. I call upon the gods. They know what sort of tempest storms are whirling
God's done for me now.
You're face to face with whom you've been praying for.
How can you know who I've been crying for?
I know you've been struck with wonder for Orestes.
And how have I the answer to my prayers?
Me. No need to search for one who's closer.
Is this some trick you're winding round me, stranger?
In that case, I'd be doing thoughts around myself.
I see you mean to mock me in my misery!
I'm laughing at myself then, if I laugh at you.
You really are Orestes. Is that what I should call you?
Now that you're looking at me in the flesh, you find me hard to recognize. Yet, when you saw this lock of hair, you were elated. You conjured up my footprints, so you traced your footsteps over mine. Now, with that curl beside where it was cut, look well at this beauty, the work of your own hands, weaving in the figure of a lion.
To see your face! You must go foremost for me. First my father's, then my mother's. Affection I defer to you, for she is bound out of my total hatred. Then my sisters, whom we sacrificed. And then you are my brother, my one true and only strength.
Zeus, look down on these things. See here the orphan children of the eagle father.
Hush, children! You preservers of your father's heart.
In case someone should hear you.
Apollo's powerful oracle commanded me to carry out this dangerous task. It warned me loud and clear about the chilling blights that would invade my fevered heart, were I to fail to run to earth those guilty of my father's death just the way they did themselves. Which means that I must kill them in return. Said otherwise, I paid with my own life. Threatened me with many gruesome sufferings. Describing rabid fury from vengeful powers of earth, malign afflictions, greedy cankers of the flesh that eat at healthy tissue, ulcers white with mold. Madness and night panic fears convulsed him, hounding him from home, his body mutilated. Such a one cannot offer libations, since the Father's wrath debars him from all sacrificial altars, and none will share a roof with him. In time, devoid of rights, devoid of friends, he dies, exhausted, desiccated. Should I trust at all in oracles like these? Well, even if I do not, still it must be done, indeed. Father, faithful Father, what can I say? What can I do, reaching from so far off to where your grave bed fetters you?
The ravening pyre, child, does not devour the power of the dead.
Hear this in turn, Father, cries of children by your tomb, doubly tearful heartache. Almighty Zeus, when will you bring down your hand to split apart their skulls? That would assure this land.
There's a law that lays it down that spattering of lifeblood spilling on the ground must summon further bloodshed.
Murder draws deadly retribution from the Erinyes on behalf of those killed. Oh, mother, cruel-minded, you made his cruel interment, a king without his people, without his proper weeping. So heartlessly you buried him unlamented.
You tell of gross insult. Well, she must pay the price for bringing this insult against our Father's name. With help from the gods, with help from my strength. Then, once I've done with her, I'll gladly suffer death. O earth, send up our Father, let him oversee our fight.
Persephone granted us his power in all its splendor.
Do not forget the bath where you were hacked to death.
Do not forget the trap net they invented.
You were snared in fetters, though not bronze.
Cast up inside a cowardly covering.
Do these humiliations rouse you from your sleep?
And are you lifting up your much-loved head?
If you support our claims, you will preserve your son.
It is quite right. You have expressed yourselves at length to make up for the lack of willingness too.
But next, since you are firmly set on deeds,
It is high time to act and try to pay.
You're right. But first, I need to know just why she sent libations here. What was the point in trying far too late? To make amends and heal that trauma too far gone for cure.
I know my child since I was there.
It was bad dreams and terrors of the night that shook that godless woman into sending these libations.
Did you find out what this dream was all about?
She dreamt, she said, of giving birth, but to a snake.
She wrapped in a tight with cloth, just like a child.
What sort of feeding did you want, this newborn creature?
as she held it to her breast, it summoned clots from blood mixed with milk.
She woke in terror, screaming.
The many household lamps that had been blotted in the darkness flared up at once to serve our mistress.
libations in the hopes that they might work to cut out her disease.
Well then, I pray to earth here and my father's tomb to bring this drink to pass for me.
Yes, I approve your reading of this omen. May it turn out to be true.
Now, tell us, friends, what remains?
Who should be taking action and who not?
The plan is simple. First, the ledger here should go inside. I urge on you and her to keep our flying secret. I shall myself approach the outer gateway, looking like a stranger, kid out with baggage, and I'll bring Pylades along with me. We'll imitate the dialect that's spoken in his land of focus. Then, if none of those who man the doors will open up to us in friendly fashion, then we shall stay put just as we are, so that anybody passing by will speculate and say, now why is Aegisthus keeping new arrivals at the gate, if he's indoors and knows of them? Then, if once I get past the outer gate and find him sitting on our father's throne, or if he comes and gives me audience, then I, just as soon as I set eyes on him, before he has the time to say, where is the stranger from? I'll make a corpse of him, impaled on my swift blade. Now, you go inside. Keep good watch around the house so things are organized to fit. You, I advise to keep your tongues discreet. Speak to fit the moment.
The earth produces many fearsome beasts and terrors. The sea embraces seething shoals of dreadful monsters. The sun flashes flaring through the earth and heavens inflict their dangers on both winged and walking creatures. And then the damage dealt by furious blasts of tempests. But all this is nothing except the slight harm done by people, by men through daring and the recklessness of women, who ponder ruin through their dangerous emotions.
Hello there! Do you not hear my knocking at the outer gates? Is someone there? 3 times now I've called for someone to come out, if, of course, this house of Aegisthus offers hospitality.
All right, I hear you. Where's this stranger from?
Please tell the masters of the house I've come to bring them news. And hurry up. Night's dusky chariot is drawing near, and it's high time for traders to be dropping anchor in a friendly house of welcome.
Please tell me, strangers, what you want. We have available the kinds of comforts that are proper for a household of this standing. Hot baths and beds to suit our weariness, and modest company. But if there is further business needing serious discussion, then that's men's work. We shall put it on to them.
I am Dalian from Focus. As I was heading here, I met up with a man, unknown to me and me to him. He, when he had inquired for my destination, said, well, stranger, since you're bound for Argos, please remember this exactly and convey it to his parents. Say to them, Orestes is gone, dead. Please find, if they prefer to have him fetched home or buried far away forevermore, and bring me their instructions on this choice. An urn of bronze already holds within its sides the ashes of the men. He has been well lamented. I do not know if I am speaking with some relative, but it is only right to let his parents know. I would have wished it might have been for some good news. I had come to be received by hosts so prosperous as we.
You will not be treated any less deservingly, nor be any less welcome in this house. Some other would have brought this message. Escort him and his fellow traders to men's guest rooms. Meanwhile, I'll convey these matters to the masters of the house.
welcome news about Orestes' death. A blow to set the blood fresh dripping in this house, still raw and oozing from the earlier killing. What is this then? Should I regard it as the actual truth?
We've heard of it, but you should go inside and find out from the visitors yourself.
I want to meet and ask him if he was himself nearby the day Orestes died, or is he merely passing on a distant rumor? Will not fool a mind that keeps its wits back.
Zeus, where shall I begin my prayers and pleading? Where to end them? Now the blood-stained slashing blades are either just about to snuff forever Agamemnon's family, or to light the flame of freedom and to pass the city's power and riches over to Orestes. That's the contest he is joining, single-handed with a double rival. May he be victorious.
What's happening? What's the outcome?
We should keep our distance while the issue is decided.
So we seem quick for your plane.
Disaster! Help! The master's been attacked! Oh my God, again! Aegisthus is no more! Open the doors as quickly as you can! I've told the women's quarters too! Where's Clytemnestra gone?
It looks as though her neck is on the block.
What's going on? Why raise this alarm? I say they're slaughtering the living! I see the meaning of your riddle. We're about to die by trickery, just as we killed. Quick! Somebody fetch an axe good to kill a man. Let's see if we shall conquer or be conquered, since that's the dreadful depth that we have reached.
It's you I'm looking for. This one has had enough.
Are you dead? I guess that's... My dear love!
You love the man. In that case, you can lie beside him in a double grave.
Stop! My son, now show restraint, my child.
What should I do now, Pylades? Should I hold back from striking my own mother dead?
But what to make in future of Apollo's Delphic oracles and of our sacred oaths? Treat any human as your enemy before the gods.
I judge you win, and your advice is good. Now come with me. I want to kill you at his side, considering you rated him above my father still alive. Now you can go to bed with him in death.
I nourished you young. I want to age with you.
You killed my father, and you think to live with me.
What must be shares responsibility, my child.
Then what must be lays down your death as well.
Have you no dread for a mother's curse, my child?
No, since you bore me only to abandon me.
I sent you to an allied house!
I was freeborn and you sold me off!
So where's the praise I received for that?
I feel ashamed to put that plainly into words.
So shouldn't you be to list your father's death?
Don't criticize the man who toiled while you sat snug.
It's hard for wives when separated from their man.
A man's hard labor keeps his woman safe at home.
Seems you need to kill your mother.
It's you, not me, inflicting your own killing.
Look out. Beware a mother's rabbit hunting dogs.
How then could I escape my father's if I were to fail?
Meant to it.
Because my father's blood decrees your death.
This is the snake I bore and fed.
You killed as you should not have, so now you'll suffer what you should not.
after this I go inside to take my seat as prophetess. If there be any Greeks here present, let them now consult, as drawn in order by the customary lot. For I deliver prophecies as guided by the God. My lord of Hall, as you know how negligence is wrong, so too must you find out how not to be unjust. It is your strength that is my reassurance.
Remember that. And don't let terror overtake your mind. I'll not betray you, but protect you through and through, both from close by and from far off. And I'll not be soft towards your enemies. As you can see, these crazy females are overcome, plunged deep in slumber. These abominations, ancient maidens, virgin crows, their whole appearance is not right for gods, nor men, nor animals, and they cultivate the evil depth of Tartarus, detested by both gods as well as men. Yet all the same you have to flee, and show no weakness as they're going to harry you across sea and land. Oh. Don't let the struggle weary you, but keep right on until you've reached Athena's city, and then stay your arms around her ancient statue. There will seek out the guided words to ensure that you are released from this distress for all the future time. Thus, well, I was the one who persuaded you to strike your mother dead. Protect this man, and true to your title, be the guide and shepherd to my suppliant here, and bring him, with the help of the people he meets, good fortune.
Sleep on, sleep on. Asleep. Meanwhile, as long as I'm disdained by you like this, I say denounced among the dead by those I killed. And so, I wander in humiliation, held to blame because even though I was made to suffer horribly by my own closest kin, there is not one divinity enraged on my behalf, not even for being butchered at my own children's hands. Just bring yourself to see these gashes in my breast. Yet you have lapped up many offerings I've poured unmixed with wine. And I have burned rich sacrifices for you in the night, a ritual time not shared with any other god. I see all this go trampled underfoot. Meanwhile, he has managed to escape. Hear me! For it is my very self at stake. Pay me attention, chthonic goddesses. The stream that summons you is Clytemnestra.
try.
Wake up! And you wake her, and I wake you! What? Still asleep? Get up! Kicks the bra. Let's find out if his brain wants to eat.
You're the agent bearing full responsibility.
feel no fear, yet I'm still astonished at the sight. Who are you? All of you, I mean. You who stand by my statue, and you. You don't look like any of the gods known to the gods, nor do you match the form of any human. Still, it would be wrong of me to speak discourteously against those who've given no offense.
You shall hear everything concisely, child of Zeus. We are the daughters born of night.
And in the world beneath the earth, we're known as the curses.
So now I know your birth and your title.
Next, you should learn about prerogative. We inherit people killers from their homes.
Where does a killer's running reach its end?
Someplace where joy is quite unknown.
And that's how you're hustling this man here?
We are. He thought it right to be his mother's killer.
Out of compulsion, or out of fear of some fierce anger?
Could that be enough to spur a man to kill his mother?
There are two parties here, and I've heard only half.
So test the case and pass your judgment honestly.
And would you really hand to me the final outcome?
Indeed,
You respect us in return for our respect.
Now, stranger, what have you to say in your turn? Tell me your country, family, fortune. That is, you're coming to me as a solemn suppliant, and are by my statue out of trust and justice.
Mistress Athena, I shall first allay your anxious question. He's laid down the man with blood on his hands is not allowed to speak until he has been cleansed by one with power to purify. Well, I have been purged in other places, both by sacrificial blood and flow of blood. So now I'll tell you about my family. I am from Argos, son of Agamemnon, marshal of the naval force, and you, with him, reduced Troy city to a nothing place, and yet he died of squalid death when he came home. My dark-intentioned mother slaughtered him when she had cloaked him in a rich embroidered net, complicit with his murder in the bath. And I eventually returned from exile, killed my mother. Do not deny it. Make her pay the price for killing my dear father. And Apollo shares responsibility for this, since he proclaimed that I would suffer hard and impaling agonies if I
no. Listen how it was, Athena, and you jurors gathered to give your votes. When he had returned from Troy, where he had managed mostly well, she welcomed him with lavish words, and then tented him in a robe, and with him feather in his drafty cloak of cloth she struck. This is the sad tale of his death. Beloved by all, commander of the fleet. I emphasize this so those gathered here may feel the sting of it.
According to your version, you claim Zeus aboard the father said to have your weight.
Yet he himself tied up his ancient father Cronus. Is not that a blatant contradiction?
You loathsome God-detested bastards! Zeus would loose me your chains. There is a matter of ways of getting out just without much effort. Once the soil has gulped the lifeblood of a man, there is no way to bring him back. My father can undo all things by turning him this way or that, without much effort. But for this he has imposed no counterspell.
I think what you are defending here. This man has spilled his mother's blood, his own shared blood. Agamemnon and inhabited his ancestral home in Argos.
Stand at altars that are communal. What brotherhood can have him at their rights?
I shall explain this, and you shall see that I am right. The person who is called the mother is no parent of the child, merely the feeder of a newly planted embryo. She is like a stranger acting for a stranger. She keeps the seedling safe, provided when God enters it. I offer proof that a father can give birth without a mother. Here stands daughter of Olympian Zeus. She was never cultured in the darkness of a womb. And I, Athena, shall as far as I am able make your city and its people great. I have brought this man so that he may serve as a suppliant for all future time, and you may gain him and those after him as allies, ever standing firm as pledges for the children of these men.
Now instruct these jurors to make their judgments and to cast their votes. Enough has now been argued.
Well, we have fired off all our arrows. So we will wait and see which way the issue is decided.
You've heard. So strangers, when you vote, fear your oath.
I would advise you not to underrate our claims. We could become a harmful presence to this land.
And I would advise you to feel fearful of my oracles from Zeus and not to leave them barren.
Ah, but if you mark on matters not your business, matters of bloodshed, the temple of your oracle shall not stay pure.
For soon, when you have lost this case, you shall be spewing toxic fire. Although it cannot harm your enemies.
A younger god, you tried to cripple over me. Viola. And so I'll stay and hear the outcome of this trial till I decide whether I should turn my anger on this king.
It's time for me to make my judgment.
shall I compose